Natasha from the Two Idiots Travel Blog, and I have Alyssa here to ask me some questions today.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about how you are scared of flying, right?
Yes, fully panicked.
What happens when you fly?
So, as a kid, I did not fly a lot, obviously. We didn't have a lot of options in India when I was growing up. I flew once and I don't really remember it per se. But I don't think I was afraid of flying. But I used to live in Charlottesville, Virginia. And I was taking a flight from Charlottesville to DC, which by the way is a 20-minute flight, but in those little turboprops, which I hope they don't have anymore. And it was over the Blue Mountain Ridge and the plane was shaking a lot. And I think that was when I became aware of turbulence. So what I'm actually afraid of is turbulence.
Okay.
And the unexpectedness of it. Like you're on a plane, you're in the middle of an ocean, and this thing is just shaking and there's nothing you can do. There's no escape from it. So I think my fear is more of the turbulence and of the unexpected things that happen on a plane and you can't really get out of it because you're kind of stuck in there for 8 hours, 20 minutes or anything. So, and I fully panic. Like I have a panic attack. I'm not a joke panic attack. I'm not like exaggerating it. Like actually have anxiety, and I used to have sleepless nights before I took a flight, and I would check the weather incessantly and say if there's a thunderstorm coming, I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be turbulent. And if the pilot is not giving up enough information, I panic even more. If the pilot says the flight's going to be fine and it's not, I panic even more. So it's just, I just feel panicked.
So you're panicked even before turbulence starts,
yes.
Just because you know it might happen.
It might happen. When. The expectedness, you know, that it might happen, and I'm too relaxed, and suddenly it comes, and I'm like, oh no, I don't know what to do. I have to be mentally prepared for everything, so I have to be mentally prepared for turbulence, even if it's like the calmest flight ever. Despite
this fear, you have taken a lot of flights.
Yes.
Like well over 100.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
How do you get past it?
I think I like to travel more than my fear. So that's part of it. And also, I feel like it's one of those things when you know, anybody who has anxiety about something, if you do it once and you remember that you were able to do it last time. So I keep remembering all the instances of when I had bad turbulence and I survived it. So I have to constantly remind myself of that. Well, you had a bad flight and you were fine. And I think so the more I do it, the more data I have on the fact that when I had a panic attack on a flight, nothing happened, I just had a panic attack. Mm-hmm. So it's more about dealing with my panic attack than actually the flight then. So.
What do you do either ahead of time or during the flight to help keep yourself calm and even keeled? Caffeine
has a really high impact on me, on anxiety. So I try not to have any kind of caffeine the week before. Like I'm taking a flight again on Friday. I'll start either if I want something like coffee, I'll have decaf coffee. It's just like, it's a heightened sense of everything. The other thing I do is like, I really need to have good sleep. If I'm well rested, I am better on a flight.
Okay.
So just like anybody else, like I have to work out, eat really well, not have a lot of caffeine, meditation, the thing AJ recommends the most, and just knowing that I'm going to be okay even if I have a panic attack. It's okay to be scared and have a panic attack and you can get through the flight. So I kind of follow that regime no matter what.
How has your fear changed from before when you and AJ used to travel just as a couple to now you're traveling with your young son?
I think it's funny because people are like, oh, you were panicked about flying, so when you have a baby, aren't you more panicked? Yes, I am panicked, but I'm more panicked about making sure he's okay. So it turns out having a child is the biggest distraction. So I am always so focused on him that I forget to panic almost. And there have been flights recently where he was panicked on a flight for whatever reason he was. You know, he's a child, he has a day. And the flight was bad and I don't remember it being bad just because I was so focused on his needs and distracting him. So in a way, it's been really, really good. In fact, I think when he's asleep on the flight, I'm kind of like focused on myself and then I panic. But when I'm focused on him, I panic less because I'm just so distracted by making sure he's okay. So it's kind of been better, I think. And I end up like focusing more on him. So I'm like, now I know that it's fine. I just have to focus on Arav, and I'm going to survive a flight.
He's like a good distraction for
Absolutely.
you. That's
so
awesome.
If you're panicked about flying, fly with your children. It makes things easier for some reason. You can look at all the judgy people looking at you and focus on your child.
Right along those lines, so what other tips, other than traveling with your kids, do you have for people who might be a little scared of flying?
I think there are apps where you can like put them on and you can meditate and focus on your breathing. So the 3 things when you are having a panic attack, because no matter what you do, you might still have a panic attack. You'll have a bad day and it's fine. Sure. You're human. Chamomile tea, like getting some hot water and getting some chamomile tea just kind of calms you down, and really focus on that yoga breathing. Or if you have an app, or if you have really music that makes you happy, I recommend doing that when you are having a panic attack. Like put that music on, breathe through it. And the other thing that always has helped me, like sometimes reading is hard during turbulence because it gives me a headache, and a lot of people have the same. It's like looking at pictures on your phone, like happy pictures of yourself, and like old pictures when you traveled somewhere and you got somewhere on a flight. Somehow that always makes me feel better. So I had always used the flight as a way to reminisce about my past trips. So I would go through my albums, and things are so much easier nowadays. Everyone has their pictures on the phone. So putting some good music on and breathing through it. I think for anyone who has a panic disorder will know that no matter what you try, you will have a bad day someday and have a panic attack. And I think it is, for me, I think what I have learned, and I've had panic attacks since I was since I was a teenager, even younger, is that not to fight it, not to fight, like say, oh, why do I have this panic attack, and overanalyze it. Just let it go through you. Right. Just like breathe through it, and it'll pass. It always does. So yeah.
I like that idea of flipping through the pictures.
That's for some reason that is such a fun thing to do because it distracts you. And then AJ and I would get like sitting by each other, get into it. It's like, do you remember when we did this? It was such a fun trip. And you start thinking of your friends and start being happy and start being grateful, and somehow it just calms you down. So
totally,
one step at a time, and it's okay if you have a panic attack. Just breathe through it.